What it means to me is that you are not connected to this voice of originality and genius within yourself. You feel in some way like you stand at a distance from your own abilities, at a distance from your own dreams and desires and passions. And being at a distance, you feel disconnected from what really matters to you, or the feeling of being completely yourself in front of the world. I mean, we all have, private sides to our lives. I'm not saying that you show everything to everyone. But to the degree that you feel fractured, to the degree that you feel like what you present to the world is not true to who you are within, you also feel distant from your sense of creativity, your feeling of being a genius, of having a gift, and also from your spirituality. Okay? We need to feel like we are in some way transparent, that we can be seen by others. That, in other words, the mask that we're wearing is transparent, and we can really be seen. If you feel like you're hiding, if you feel like half of you is in shadow, or that most of what matters to you is secret, you're going to develop this sense of fraudulence. And a lot of highly creative and high-functioning, accomplished people feel inwardly like frauds because of what they're hiding. The reason that we feel like frauds basically comes down to three things. First of all, we don't tell the truth. Most of the time we tell half-truths. We censor ourselves to be kind, or we censor ourselves because it's not acceptable. But for whatever reason, we don't tell the whole truth. The second thing is that we are afraid of our own shadow. All of us have aspects of ourselves that might not be acceptable to our parents or to the culture we live in, and therefore to ourselves. So we do our best to hide from our own shadows. And when you hide from your shadow, you hide from your gift. Because your gift comes from the totality of who you are. And very often it's going into the shadow that we find the richness, the juicy stuff, the thing that really turns you on, whether or not it's acceptable to the world. Okay? And the other reason that a lot of people feel inauthentic or fraudulent is that we have many parts to our personalities. None of us is only one person. You're not the same person when you're in bed with your lover as you are in church, as when you are at your desk, or when you're doing your marketing. Okay? These are different parts of yourself. And to the degree that you distance yourself from the different parts of yourself and don't allow them into your idea of who you are, you also fracture your power. You distance yourself from your personality. You basically disown the parts of yourself that you don't like, thinking that that's not going to handicap you or disable you in any way. But of course it does. So I work with people to reconnect with a sense of authenticity, a sense of power, confidence, and a basic happiness with who they are in the world and what they do. Okay? Before we do that, it's useful to backtrack a little bit and look at the ways that we become, as Bucky Fuller said, de-geniused. The first big category, the first big influence, of course, is fear. Various forms and voices of fear. Being afraid of disobeying the people around us. We're afraid of standing out very often. We are certainly afraid of failure. And the greatest fear, if you believe Nelson Mandela, is the fear of our own power. We fear our own greatness. We say that we want freedom, but it scares us. We say that we want to be magnificent in the world, that we want to be big, but it scares the hell out of us. So we keep ourselves small, and fear is one of the ways that we use, one of the self-sabotaging forces that we use to keep ourselves small. So it's important to look at the ways that fear operates in your life. If you want to understand where the rest of you went, why you feel fraudulent. Okay, what are you afraid of? What are you not admitting to yourself? What might you, for instance, desire that you also fear? That interface between fear and desire is something I talk about all the time because there's a lot of power there.